Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, so I've started looking around and poking on it. I looked at like the images and the thing, like the flow thing you had in the ClickUp. Is that where like all the task management related to the project is going to be happening?
Right.
And then once I figure out this week what students are on the project, I'll send you their emails and you add them to it. Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, they do, but Ripen also has for this first semester connected them also into that. So they want us to kind of schedule our Zooms through the platform, which helps me with all the without all,
Okay.
as the way that we manage it within Ripen. But I also do ClickUp assignments, and I do the assignments there, and then Zooms through Ripen, which works wonderful and can let me make sure I'm organizing these schools all the right way.
Okay, yeah, because that's the main thing. It's like where is our typical interaction with the management of the process gonna be happening? Is it in Ripen? Is it in
Ripen,
outside?
and
Okay.
Ripen, and then what I'll do is I'll put links to ClickUp in Ripen.
Ah, okay. So we'll set up a milestone or whatever inside of Ripen
Mhm.
that'll have a link to either a task or something in
Right,
ClickUp.
right.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't know how they put the students in there. They just by the time they get to me, they're like in a team. And then she showed me the other day how I can just like send a group email to the team and schedule it there in Ripen. With and then I guess the milestones would be I guess you can put assignments in there. I haven't used that
Oh
just
yeah, I see. Yeah, team. I'm looking in Ripen right now. Yeah, there's like a Teams, and you can add members, and there's
yet.
um, I don't know what requests. Oh, that's different. Okay, so okay.
Yep.
All right. I talk with Margot tomorrow, so like I'm guessing so I should send basically I'll work with Ripen to get the students in there.
Right.
Okay, but they'll still need account access in some way. So when they click on those ClickUp links, they can get to where they need to go to.
Right. And so I mean yeah, I would need the well, yeah, go ahead and send me the email addresses so I can put everything in ClickUp. Send them
Okay.
the invite to ClickUp the same way I sent you the invite. Or yes. So let's do that because I do need to put them in.
Well, I don't have the students yet.
Okay. Tomorrow we get them, right?
Tomorrow's my first class with them, and
Okay.
so I'm gonna spend about an hour introduce them to the course and give them a little teaser at there's three projects now, but one of those one through our own. And then at 11 you'll present, and then you have 30 minutes, and then 11:30 Ripen presents, and then I have another 45 minutes with the students after that where I'll try to start to tease out which students are seem most interested in which of the three. I have 12 students, which ones are navigating sort of mentally, at least initially, to which of those three projects.
Okay. How many total students did you say you had?
We have 12 students, but
Okay.
I'm hoping that, to be honest, I'm hoping that it's four students per team. So I'm
Okay.
hoping that maybe you'll have four students to work with.
Okay.
That's kind of how I'd like it to fall out, but we'll see. I kind of give them a little bit of choice, and so, but I also want the teams to be kind of even. Um, so I might have to enforce that a little bit. But my current thinking is that you'll probably have four students,
Okay. Okay.
which could get a lot of work done because we've even been talking about like basically I'm completely reinventing the course because of using Ripen with these projects, and so what I might have had them doing in the past is milestones. I don't know exactly what that's going to look like yet for the course, but I'm kind of gonna kind of go with it, and it'll get built as we go along.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
um, as long as we're every week we have those check-ins and have that sort of general direction of what you'd like to see next or whatever, we can go from there. And of course, we have Claude, we have AI. I saw that some of that's also built into ClickUp, but um, we can probably prototype some things. I think some of the students are going to want to work on the project just because of it being AI oriented.
Okay.
That'll be attractive to the CS students. So, um, is there anything you want to like go over with me with the stuff? Like, what's the plan for um what you plan to show them tomorrow in the 30 minutes that we're going to have together. That's the main thing, and then we'll get the teams, and then we can start with saying, "Here's the first milestone." Um, I'm
Just
thinking,
presenting the problem, so that they
okay,
can understand why we're doing this. The problems that artists and creatives have in the industry, as far as the time it takes to do something. Our clients becoming Steven Spielberg wanting this quality that they don't have the budget for.
right,
And then for us, for the TMT Youth Community Foundation, is the misrepresentation of African Americans in the media,
okay,
and as well as the price point, because the industry has changed so much with AI. And so
hmm,
here, this is a game changing technology for us that we want to get ahead of fast, and we need their help to doing so. So it's presenting the problem and then having them understand how they can help. And then I would
right,
like to, look at, and a case study with it, being the Cosby Show, as well as the Different World. I mean, Bill Cosby has, many things out, but for the Black community, that show, because I am of that generation, changed the enrollment for African American HBCUs. And so people don't
hmm,
talk about the fact that HBCUs couldn't handle enrollment just because of that positive representation. So, looking at that case study of how having that type of media in our community actually actually make levels the playing field. And so we want to be able to give the problem a case study, and then ask for assistance and tell them what the project is about.
okay, cool. And do you plan on giving like sneak peeks? Because there's the tools that are listed, like N8N, IO, high level. Um, there's a YouTube API, which they'll be familiar with probably, or these other things. Are you going to walk them through that sort of tech flow, or right now just focus sort of on the bigger picture, and then whichever students, um,
No, we could. I mean,
uh,
I think we should, so that they will understand kind of what we're doing and what they're going to learn from it, so they can kind of understand how this is a real world problem they may be able to take into their next real employment. Because
mhm,
there's going to be a lot of companies trying to figure this out,
mhm,
and how impressive it would be in their portfolio to say, "Hey, they solved this real world problem that a lot of businesses are looking at right now." And if they're not looking at it, they're not going to be in business. So I think that that would be, a selling point as to why this is important, because something real world goes in your portfolio and can impress upon, this marketplace that is headed towards AI. Gives you a advantage in the marketplace upon graduation.
okay. Um, where's that image at? Oh, no, here.
And then usually I have a jobs board, but right now, because we got so many, so many projects at the table, like that jobs board is full of like 20 positions. So usually I'm working with one school at a time, but this is the first time we've ever had the space of that. But usually I divide this up into roles as to,
Mhm.
how they get it done, and they usually apply for the roles. I think this time I'm gonna leave that open, and and kind of maybe let them decide how they want to move to that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, because I think they'll be working together on certain things. They might
okay.
we got chop up some tasks a little bit. I'll try to make sure they're all pulling their weight kind of thing. But you can kind of get to a point with that kind of granularity that you end up spending more time managing this stuff than having them have an opportunity to get the work done too.
Right. Okay.
Um, but I, I, I think the way I'm going to try to do this is really just focusing on it week to week and being like, okay, what can we get done this week? So, for example, I see in the Explore project area in ClickUp, you have the scope of work for 4 weeks, and like week one, which would be this coming week, is this the discovery and planning. So that's meeting with you all, right,
Uh-huh.
for
Mhm.
onboarding. Are you considered communiversity or
No, we're the
the
TNT Youth
TMT?
Community.
You're the
Mhm.
TMT founder. Um, so what's that? Who? who's the community piece of it?
Shafia and Bala. I meet with her tonight on the projects that we have for her. So she's got 3 projects in Ripen, and we've got projects for ourselves. But this project
Okay.
specifically because of your students' skill set for her as a client.
Okay, so I guess the question I have with that is, and so you're going to introduce a project and everything tomorrow. Is there going to be another time within this first week where they're going to want to meet with the students?
I'll find out tonight. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
because she's always in she's an organizer, so like right now she's in, she's always in meetings and workshops, and we'll do so for the rest of the week. But
mm,
what we usually do is schedule a time that the students come in and meet with us each week regularly, and then once I give her, hey, this is what they're meeting with, and she'll be able to meet in one of those time frames.
okay. And so, because the 3 bullets are, so meet with project sponsor, document the current manual workflow, and so that's where our students will talk with some of the people there, and figure out, or based on the documents that you've provided and stuff, kind of put it
Um,
into a nice sort of.
it'll kind of be a little bit of both in the sense of, um, I have already started kind of mapping out the project based off of like APIs and things along those lines. And so they will have a manual process, but the we'll also want to have an AI automated process, and that's kind of where all the N8N stuff comes in. Just because there's I mean, as a software person, there's a big difference between going in the software and manually making all the changes, and then also doing the full automation, connecting
Yeah,
to all the APIs and things like that. So you'll have both. So
okay,
because some students will prefer manual, some students will prefer um, automated. So having both mapped out would be preferable.
okay. I'm just wanting to get really a better, clear picture of like what that first week's worth of work might, because one of the things that'll have to happen is, because it's a new course, right? So these students are coming into the course, is they're reading the material about software requirements that I've got for them. They're going to get the opportunity description tomorrow, and then they're going to need a little time to. I just get them into the team. Here's the 4 students, and then start to nail down what are those real tasks, right? That we want them to do, because I think one of the primary tasks is going to be, yeah, there's the onboarding, or whatever documentation you have, is just giving them the opportunity to absorb it,
Mhm.
um, and get a really good sort of sense of what they are doing, um,
Are
what
your
APIs
students
they're working with,
are
and
your students familiar with N8N?
no,
Okay, so traditionally what I do that first week is I give them kind of an idea of the goal, the overall project that we're trying to hit. And that first week, I usually give them like just videos to watch, just to kind of introduce them into the software, something that they can watch, something that they can just kind of get their feet wet, because they're not familiar with it, outside of them like going deep, going hard, wanting to learn this themselves. Um, it's just going to take some time. So like I said, I usually give them that week to kind of give them that moment of, hey, just watch a bunch of these videos. People like videos. It's usually a very easy introduction, right?
right,
And they just kind of start wrapping their mind around like how this software works. And like I said, traditionally I have kind of a little bit of a flow. And so we're like, hey, watch this and then kind of watch this so you can, so that's usually the first week. Just
okay, yeah, that
yeah.
that sounds great. That's what'll need to happen, right? Is they give them that chance to absorb. So it's not like a ton of work will be happening. What I usually have them do, like if I'm doing just our own in-house projects, is like they're just coming up with a project plan and vision and scope themselves. Here, it's going to be, that's all been developed. Watch all the stuff. Look at the documentation that's been provided, or images, or whatever else it's in ClickUp or wherever, and read it all, right, and absorb it, and ask questions about it and stuff like that. And then when we get into week 2 and 3, they can really start figuring out assignments
Yeah.
beyond, like
Mhm.
for accomplishing tasks and things.
Right. Yeah, it'll be small goals that kind of build on top of each other, right? So, you know, if you think
Okay.
of the sense of like driving a car, right? Like you just kind of, okay, well, this is how all the book stuff works. And then you're like, okay, wait, this is how I, you know, turn the wheel and I got to put it in. So it's kind of like steps
Okay.
that build on top of each other. Yeah. So
Okay.
we're not gonna just like do this. It's a,
Okay. Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's my first rodeo with Ripen and with this sort of project for the class. So it's new to me too. And I expect that I will generally watch and just include me in any of those. Like,
Video.
say you have that flow for the videos and stuff, just so whenever I talk to the students each week and are helping them, I've got the same context that I can help steer the ship a little bit as needed.
Mm. Morgan, can we go ahead and put some of those videos in ClickUp so he can see that today, tonight?
Um, okay.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, I think I can do that. It might not be till a little bit later. But I should be able to get them in by tonight, so at least you'll have to be able to watch them before.
Class is at 10. I'll be able to watch. I usually have an hour or two in the office before the class. So if there's something in there, I can probably poke around a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Um, that sounds good. What question? Do you have any questions for me? Like whether it's well, I think it's just gonna be
Um,
playing. Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's you know, definitely a new experience and you know, kind of learning each other. I was a little curious. You said none of your students have worked with any type of innate N types, but I was a little unsure of like what the class was. Is that?
Uh, yeah. So it's called software requirements engineering,
Oh,
and the typical projects in the class usually didn't involve much, if any, coding per se. What they're doing, or would typically do, is create software requirements documentation. So imagine having someone who creates a 40 to 60 page document that you hand it off to a developer and you say, here's what I want built, right? It has all the functionality. It'll have data information, it'll have workflows, it'll have specifications around the behavior of the system, who are the users, what's the data, how do you want it to operate. um, we would use things like Figma, right, to like say someone's going to build a mobile app, right, where they get an idea of a semi prototype, right, where they know what it looks like and how it flows and all this stuff, but not a ton of actual coding behind it. But what's changed is, so imagine we want to build on some piece of your workflow that uses the APIs. With AI now, with Claude, we can prototype quicker. So we can say, what the students will primarily focus on is writing the documentation. Here's how we want this thing to behave, and using templates to say, here are the requirements we would love this piece of this app or this system to have. And then using Claude or whatever else AI is involved to help build it out and have rough prototypes and working stuff, that they don't have to spend as much time coding. They're going to have bugs, and Claude is Claude and stuff to do with it. But um, I think that'll be able to be more of an exploration and testing and playing around with things because of AI,
mm.
um, along with the documentation of how it works.
Okay, so
'Cause,
they're not really using Claude itself for the coding,
oh,
or
they
they're
will.
moving into that.
They're moving into that. They'll be doing both. Like, so they
Okay.
might use Claude some to help develop documentation, but I think most of the documentation will be stuff that, like, so for example, you talk about the manual flow and the API flow, right? That
Mm-hmm.
needs to be documented if I understand things correctly.
Right.
And so there'll be some of the outputs would be the documents, right? They may use Claude or some ways or other templates that I have already for requirements stuff to put that in there. But what they can then do, imagine having like and they could actually just almost hand the document to Claude and say, "Hey, this is how we want this piece of this app to function. Help
Mm-hmm.
us build it."
Right.
and then it spins off, and then they can start troubleshooting and things like that. So,
Okay. I
because
might
my
look
understanding,
at
you
this.
want the documentation, right? Too, like,
Yeah,
or
which
is
is
it?
why, so now that I have a better understanding, um, they can still watch the videos week 1, but week 2 sounds like it might be better if they started doing the documentation. And then maybe that's week 1 or 2 and 3, and then maybe week 4 might be to take what they've actually built or sorry, what they've actually documented, and then start building that within the N8N system. I know a few Claude hacks and stuff like that. Um,
Well,
okay.
yeah, because and I don't know how you'll want the flow to work eventually, but so just my own personal example of this is, so, and again, this comes down to tools. Like, are you all open to using new APIs or new tools to make the flows work correctly too? Because let's say, so for example, I interact with Claude, you interact with some other AI stuff, it looks like,
Hmm.
but if I want to tell Claude to interact with my GitHub repositories,
Hmm.
you can set up the systems and the flows so that I don't have to manually go in and use GitHub desktop and all these other things to manually move this new code or this update or this thing. I can just tell Claude, hey, push, help me. So let's create this new feature. New feature is created. There's the code.
Right.
Talk with AI to push it, or which is using APIs and MCP servers and these kind of other tech.
Yeah, I was just about to say
Use it,
MCP. Yeah, okay.
yeah, yeah. So using like MCP servers to like automatically push stuff out to the repo, and you don't have to worry about it as much.
Mhm.
It seems kind of analogous to that kind of automated flow or behavior that you're kind of wanting. I know what there you've got your own unique situation set up, but it seems like, because what you're wanting to be able to do is take video content and sort of through an automated flow, make sure I got this right, spit out social media content on the other end, like
Uh,
videos or blog posts, or I don't know if
um,
it's like.
yeah. So that's some of the stuff that I've put together. Essentially, what I would like to see is an automated flow that allows a webinar or a long form piece of content to be broken down into 90 pieces of content. And so I have them separated between low tier, mid tier, and like a LinkedIn tier type of thing. Um, and so like all that's kind of part of the documentation that I've been working through. And so ideally the system would like have a variety of options in the sense of
Yeah.
like mid-tier is usually like your Facebook and Instagram. The people on those platforms tend to have a slightly longer attention span than something like TikTok or YouTube Shorts, which is why it's
Mhm.
considered middle tier. And so whereas a 8 to maybe 30-second video is kind of your TikTok range, on something like Facebook, you can go up to like, 2 minutes and things like that. And so the automated system would be able to sure pull clips from TikTok, but also like be able to do longer form clips and then be able to do B-roll in between those longer form clips. And so it's just kind of, it would have the ability to do a lot of things. Um, and it would just kind of like break out based off the script itself. So for example, more of an educational script, you might only want sound bites from TikTok, but the longer ones you might want more informative. And so it would know. And so what happens in N8N is we run like smaller sub workflows inside of a larger workflow. And so yeah, just
And the code, is there any code that already exists?
yeah, so for a lot of this, there's most everything that we will be working with has an API and documentation. right?
Okay.
So that's first off. We're not going to reinvent the wheel and use software that does not already have those things in place. That is just one less headache that will save us all. And so past that, it's really about understanding how everything fits together and then how we want everything to fit together, like based off our end results. So I haven't put that in there yet, but I do have a documentation for the 90 pieces of content that we're looking for and things along those lines. So I'm also new to ClickUp, right? So I'm
Okay.
also figuring out like where everything goes and how that all fits together. You know, like I said, just specifically in terms of ClickUp. But yeah, is that
Yeah. What's that?
I said, does that help a little bit? Does
Yeah,
that?
yeah, that helps. It's kind of one of those things where once I kind of see this
Mhm.
innate in thing myself, and your project description tomorrow, and a little bit more on those tools and stuff, because I think that's where they're gonna have the questions is how do these pieces fit together, and what system am I actually working in, where are we writing the documents, where are we writing the code, like where, or if we have some code.
Yeah,
Um,
it'll be a combination of like, you know, HTTP requests and JavaScript is usually the
so
just kind
yeah,
of,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And then,
Because
you know,
is it going to be like are you hoping that at the end of the day you have like again, you may have this already where and this may be what the innate in thing is, but like a web-based app where people can go in and take a long form video and start spitting out those pieces of like they're clicking buttons and spitting out a piece of content right up the other end that could be
that's where,
used.
yeah, that's where we want to go with it. It was part of like you have like a TMT app. We can give it to our customers and they can do work orders. And then they would actually do a work order, and this work order would trigger this content that's then dropped into their folder, or what with our high level, it can be scheduled directly to to their social media calendars.
right.
Okay.
So this piece is the infrastructure for what that looks like, and we'll probably get somebody else to design the app.
Okay. All right.
So there's a small chunk of it, but we want to give our customers an app. Here's an app, so they're not calling me and Morgan like, "Hey, can y'all slave for us for 245 days and on $100?"
I don't know. I do feel like there's a little bit of magic though in that black box where they're like, hey, I put this work order in, and they're like, start, and then like you get the message back like, hey, we've started your work order. But then like you have like I don't know, 72-hour timer where the button actually gets pressed or something. And
Yeah. So we're just looking at this process for creators because this doesn't exist for us, you know. And every time I'm talking about it, they're like, Tamisha, it doesn't exist yet. So then I found Morgan. Like, okay, Morgan, let's make this exist. And Brian, we're
Okay.
friends with you and your students, and let's make this happen.
I mean, like I said, if we have the flows and stuff, um, it particularly with Claude and AI, it doesn't take very long to spin up a job like a React app, that's mobile desktop that has basic functionality baked into it, where it's got the buttons. You can start to get a sense of what it's not going to be like super UX designed out, but it can get pretty slick with it really quick. If you have 4 students plus the AI engines, you can start to really quickly, if we know what we want certain flows or pieces to be, where that could be part of the process too, if we
Mhm.
choose to go, because you need some sort of general framework for the students to like wrap their minds around.
Right.
Yeah, I've got these 10 different tools or systems and things like that, but where do I go, what buttons am I clicking to make fire off whatever things I want to automatically happen and spit out the other end? And so that's why I'm thinking about like what's that framework that they enter into where they can. Now we're
It's
gonna
an
do the
app.
documents.
If y'all want to go ahead and design the app, we can go ahead and say
Well,
app.
we're probably gonna need something to contextualize the
Okay.
flow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
Because I
Okay.
mean,
you
because
see what I
I was in
see what I
Stripe the
mean?
other day, and I said, okay, API. So I didn't know about the API language until I met Morgan. So I saw that Stripe had an API. So I'm like, okay, well, they can actually pay for it. Stripe triggers it all, And then from there, right? And then from there, you get whatever you selected in this menu of services. So like if you want the webinar to 90 piece of content, it costs you X amount of dollars, and we can go through the app. It's triggered by payment, Stripe. So Stripe could be the starting point, and then it could go into the Zoom and it can go into the YouTube. And is that making sense?
Yeah, it's like though if like say you have an app and the person has an account, right? They can log in, and then in there they got their menu of options. Oh,
Yep.
here's my it's connected to their account wherever their data, their videos and stuff, whatever folder storage system you'd want to use. Okay, there's a video. All right, well, pick the video, pick the one of those 90 things you're talking about, or the type of service or tier or something like that,
Mhm.
and you say, build it or start or whatever, and then it starts to kick off processes. And what I'm understanding is what we're helping to sort of think through and document and sort of understand the APIs and stuff better in the automated flow is what once you hit that start button, what that would look like.
Mhm.
Uh,
Right. Per
what will
service.
but
Yeah.
also at the same time, and it doesn't have to be fancy, but at the same time, having the framework or some prototype of that the students can say, okay, we can log in. How are we connecting to this user's folders where their videos are stored? And you hit that start button. What's the first action that happens? What's that first step? Like what? And then start going through the flow.
Right, but
Um,
there's also security, just
mhm.
because, I mean, as another fellow computer person, you can discover some things on internet that you're not supposed to be into. And so
Mhm.
I would definitely want to make sure that any of our clients, their data is secure. And if
Yeah.
someone else, found that page or something like that, that they either could not get access or it doesn't work for them, right? So there's
Right.
that element of security, like just right there at the beginning, that if we were going to push into that in this moment, I would want to make sure we kind of kept that in mind.
Well, where do they all store their user account? Like what system? You have clients now, right? So what are they? How are you handling like authentication, just for like user login? Google?
No, we don't. This is the first time we've ever done this. Right now,
Oh,
when
okay.
we get a client, is right now in high level.
Right.
High level.
Okay.
Mhm.
High level is where they start work orders, where they start, it's the high level platform.
When I mean
And how,
security, I mean more in the sense of like, if I found your, whatever, and I'm like, hey, I wonder if I put my information in here, would it spit out a bunch of videos, so now I'm burning through the client's credits or, any of those things. I mean, obviously these are public facing, like YouTube videos or something like that that they would use, but I just want to make sure that no one else can get access to use it out, with outside of, that particular client. Does that, let me, with
no,
that,
yeah,
that's
no, no, it
clarity?
makes sense. But that's just any app that has account management,
Right,
and you use some sort of authentication tool. A lot of people just quickly fire up Google because it's simple, it's easy, it's secure, it's all that wonderful stuff. It's
right.
redundant. So it's not too difficult with Google Auth and things like that to fire. But it could be that, like I said, you go to this app, whatever it's going to look like, the public facing one that's open, and you click that sign in button. Well, I don't know this what was it called? High something,
High
Oh,
um,
high
level.
level?
high
Mhm.
level. Do they have an API? Is there they have an API where you
They
can
do have an
interact with their
API.
accounts? Like so, that's what it is. It's like, okay, do we want to allow users to create accounts? Where are the accounts stored? Maybe
Mhm.
the one you're already using has an API, and so you click sign in, it connects to the high level API, and the person puts in their email or login information, whatever that's structured currently, and then what shows up inside that general framework is their work orders, their stuff, their because the API it's feeding off the API. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent you a high level account too, Brian. So you should have a high level
Did I?
account.
Well, when did you send that?
Friday.
Because I did the TMT. I don't remember seeing anything from high level. I did ClickUp and I did the TMT youth account. I don't see anything from high level. Let me look. Yeah, I don't have anything from high level. It didn't move spam, did it? Yeah, I don't have anything from high level, if that's the name that it would come from, what the email would look like. Yeah, I don't have anything for high level.
I will send it back over to you. Hold on. I got several things going on here right now. Hold on. Let me look at this.
That's fine. Yeah, the only two I have is the ClickUp and the TMT site.
TMT. Okay, that's the TMT. Try the
Oh,
try.
that's high level. Oh, yeah. Okay, no, I'm in there.
Okay. So
I
yeah.
I just saw the team. Okay, this is high level. So okay,
Yep.
yeah.
I'm gonna take this
Website.
call. Hold on one second. I gotta take this call. Morgan can answer questions about high level. Hold on one second.
So if I go to, I'm in the dashboard here.
Okay, so
TMT.
recently High Level came up with something called like integrated apps or something, or private integrated apps. So that is actually very new. I would say within the last less than 6 months type of new. And so we would be working specifically with that in terms of the integration with High Level. So
Is this where is so I'm in high level right now. Is this where people I see like things like media storage? Is this where people store their stuff?
So you can, storage is something that we're potentially looking at through Go High Level, just because the way it kind of works is you have like a top level account and then you have sub accounts. And so we're looking at putting clients under sub accounts, and that would give them their own media folder. And so
Mhm.
from what I understand, it's kind of like infinite storage. I've never run into a particular limit.
They have it where
And
you can connect to Drive as well, Google
mhm,
Drive.
um,
Yeah.
and what we're looking to do is use High Level to push out their social media, right? Because High Level connects to, your standard platforms of social media, including Google My Business. And so what I would really like to see is some sort of and they just added this into. So I'm also trying to do the innate stuff, put this together, and kind of keep an eye on all the new changes that High Level is making too. So, my plate is just
Yeah,
as kind of
because in
full,
here
but
they have the AI agents area, like where you can
yeah.
um,
Mhm.
manage
Uh,
AI generated content, which kind of
mhm.
sounds like one of the things you're kind of doing, right? Is
But right
AI
now it's
generated
all
content.
all that is manual. Um, they're not really geared towards people using um APIs and automation type of things. A lot of this was initially set up to kind of help people already using it manually. And so that aspect of it, they're still kind of working through. There are some things, like I said, the private integrations, but also I think they just added some kind of like approval system or something where your client can approve the social media before it gets um scheduled. Uh
Yeah,
so like I said, there's a lot of
there's a
um
lot in here.
there is High Level is massive. The idea behind it is you should be able to run an entire creative media or just your entire agency from this one dashboard or from this one.
Yeah,
Um, it's supposed to replace like, I don't know, 50 tools is the kind of concept behind High Level. So it's a little bit of everything.
yeah, it's got yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, tomorrow, um, I think probably the most helpful thing is a good description or walkthrough of from the beginning of the process. Here's a client with video. How does it currently work in the way they manually go through it? And that's what we plan on documenting as part of that too, right?
Yeah, that's definitely part of the documentation. But because I've done it manually, I don't know if we want to continue to do it that way. Is kind of the conversation. Let me see if I if I have one of the example videos right
Well, I
quick.
just know that like with clients, I mean, I'm this way myself. There are some pieces of an automated workflow where you want to manually do that particular step, or you want to have the ability to approve or not approve a particular step.
Right. Hmm.
Some people might want where they can just set it and forget it, and they say, "Hey, here's this video. Kick off, these 10 different things for me," and then you just trust it to do its thing, right? Um,
Yeah, for the most part, we are leaning a little bit more towards that one just because um in this moment producing content is continuously going down in terms of cost. And so if we kick out 20 videos and you only like 10 of them, it's not anymore really expensive this to just do another 10. And you know what I'm saying? And kind of be able to pick and choose what you like and what you don't like. Our objective is to, have the client be able to choose what they like and what they don't like, and at the same time, um, you know, not have it be an absorbent cost, because the moment a person has to touch it, right, that's money. That is, hey, I now have to spend an hour and you don't want to pay me, a person, for that hour of time versus what it would cost to generate another 10 videos or something like that, right? Because if I touch it, it's costing you X amount of dollars an hour versus if the AI is doing it, it's a fraction of the cost. And
And the
so,
time, and the
you
time.
know, when the customer comes in and they're like, okay, I like these 10. Okay, cool. Here, generate me another 10. And, obviously they'll be billed whatever that generation is. Um, but essentially that's kind of at least what I'm thinking.
okay.
I was trying to see if I had a.
Because in this in high level, like for what I see, I, I don't know that there's no content in here of any kind yet. Um, maybe it is where you see it because of permissions or something. But like when I click on any of the stuff like automation or marketing or media storage and all
Which
this
which
stuff,
which folder are you in? Which are you in, the TMT Youth Community Foundation?
it says talented marketing talents.
Balance. Yeah, so that's the new service. So all of the
Oh,
clients
okay.
prior have been in the TMT Youth Community Foundation. This is now the agency part. So the agency part is what they're building out for the customers. All the data is in the TMT Youth Community Foundation, so it's no data there.
I
So these
gotcha.
are going to be new work orders.
Mm.
Let me see if this is what I've changed.
So what's he looking at? Were you looking for data to see how it looks, Brian?
Yeah, I'm just clicking around to see kind of these features inside of high level.
Okay, yep. So if you go to so
Okay.
the work orders would be how do I create work orders? Forms. So if you go into, and the form should be on the websites, the web pages. So if you go up under sites and on the side menu, you see that?
Sites, got it.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
And then you see that top menu that pops up where it
Yeah.
says websites, funnels. So then
Hmm.
that's the front facing piece of the of high level. That's where we would actually create a landing page, create a website. The forms would be the submission piece. So on the form piece, we would actually title that as like a work order. And then a work
Yeah.
order could be like a production work order. It could be and on that production work order, that's where you can actually place a payment button. You can actually place the time frame that you want it done, and the work order would take all of that information, and that would be the starting point from the data.
Let me.
I see, and they've got it where, but people, I don't know if you would want people like logging into the high level, but I see they even got like quirky things like they got WordPress in here, so you can basically create. I'm sure the idea is
Oh, no,
sort
we
of a
give them
more
on their account. We give them an account. We would give the students an account to high level the same way we gave you an account to high level.
oh, no, I'm saying like, for the product that you're building, what you're hoping to build,
Okay.
like the actual hosting for the site, the client facing world and what
Mhm.
that looks like. It looks like they have it so you can kind of even build it from within here a little bit.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
But
can. They actually have AI agents and workflows in here as well. So they're going to build
yes,
a lot of the stuff in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to have this high level system talk to all the other systems. So most of the stuff will be processed here and dumped here. So the process will start here and end here.
Right.
so within this environment, they'll be connecting to hopefully
Other
different
APIs.
APIs and
Right.
things like that. To,
The
yeah,
high
so
level
got
does not do video or audio or images or anything along those lines in terms of, content. They did just come out with like an AI, I think,
Image generator.
yeah, something like that that you can use within your social media. But again, that is a completely manual process. But what I was going to show you, if you could see my screen right quick, is, this is just like an example of like one of the clips.
This is a different kind of
This is
sister coming
a
along
woman that
these
was in the
days.
webinar.
They can stand toe to toe with us.
Right. So that's the example of like one of the clips, something like that, that would go on TikTok. And then this one is a little bit longer. But I wanted you to kind of see,
The original
like this is B-roll,
organizers went door to door inviting other women to
right?
join their union.
And
Mhm.
this is a
achieve their
55-second
demands.
video. And so you would
Mhm.
have a combination of
From the
both the
original 20
TikTok
to
and the longer
3,000
B-roll
strikers.
style videos.
Within a month, the city began arresting strikers and finding women who were members in
And
the
so
But
show
you
them
want
this
them
audio.
you want them in high level to be able to go in and say create a work order to spin out this type of content or whatever the front facing website is, wherever they do that, and say I want to create this kind of here's the they'll be connected to in their within their account in some way to their long form videos and stuff and say through this automated process create a work order and kick off the thing where it automatically cuts and clips and creates something that's appropriate size and stuff and even maybe schedules it for publication with the user not having to do too much manual. Okay, now do this, now do this, now do this.
Right.
Correct. I mean, there would be an approval process before it pushes to
Sure.
schedule, but essentially that's kind of what we're looking at. There'll also be templates in there in terms of, like image quotes or things like that. And so again, forgive me, I'm kind of still new to ClickUp as well.
Uh,
Is that-
But we have that, but we also have Zenfolio. So since you have this up, show him the process of, so of course we zoom something, we zoom it,
Hmm.
and then the Zoom would go to YouTube.
Right.
Then the YouTube goes to Munch. Munch is a place that automatically cuts it down and it munches it up.
Right. Well, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, no,
Is that too
still
much information?
deciding about Munch. They say they have an API, but I had to reach out to them about that. And so I'm kind of waiting on them to get back to me
Okay.
about.
Yeah, because that's what I was like. That's the other question I had. One of the tools was like, well, which one is which AI platform is taking the longer form videos, like your Zoom thing you're talking about, and choosing what clips to pull out.
Right.
So Munch, when you manually right now, you stick a URL in from YouTube and you get several small snippet videos from Munch. So that's the manual process, and they munch out in about 45 minutes. And the AI cuts it down into segments that are digestible
Mm.
around the topic. And so usually these videos can be from like 45, I want to say 45 seconds to maybe or longer form to 2 to 3 minutes for YouTube. And then
Mm.
and then we take it to another system called Kapwing that has lots of B-roll and can turn the video and put stock images over it, B-roll, and it's all from URL addresses, and the user, as editors and videographers, we don't have to spend X amount of time to download that video, X amount of time to upload that video. That video is moving across the internet just with the URL and transferring that data from one program to the next program.
Yeah. Too bad Google, too bad YouTube doesn't have its own build. The API doesn't have a long form to short form yet, but I could foresee whenever, if you had a YouTube video, right? These people have channels, right, where you store stuff, where it cuts out its own shorts, and then you're not dealing with something like Munch or some other API that's taking it in, and now you're messing with another layer. But
Hey,
I don't think they have
I
that.
was
They
for
haven't
that. Look,
really.
I was talking to her about the other day. I was like, I think we should just, have something that like cuts our own little.
I don't think YouTube's API does that yet. They don't have. I don't think they don't have. You can interact with videos. I know because I have a YouTube channel
Mhm.
about watchmaking, and I have 21,000 subscribers. It's a decent channel for watches, but the the, the
Well,
I
because
don't think I remember seeing anywhere in my YouTube Studio account a way to automatically, like,
yeah,
take my long form and spit out a short.
Right.
well, the thing that
I don't,
I'm not like I said, only because I was talking about this the other day, do I kind of have like this little like little buzz in my head about it. But um because we're coming from Zoom does do transcripts. And so transcripts and with timestamps, you technically could have an AI read the timestamp, pull out clips, like viral
yeah,
moments, and then clip a, let's say, a 15-second window, because you have the timestamp. So you do have a
right.
idea. So, I mean, technically that is possible. The conversation would really come in about the training of virality. Um,
Yeah, the cost of, I don't know what's costing you all to use the AI engines to do that, but the transcript would be way more digestible and efficient than just a video, I'd say.
yeah.
But um,
No, I mean,
I
I
think
could I could see that. The thing is that programs like Munch, right, that whole clipping aspect, they're running about 50 to like $80 a month. And so, I
for
like
like
the
unlimited account, like you can spit out as much as you want.
no, not even close, which is why
Yeah,
I
I was gonna say.
personally I liked the idea of having something that took the transcript, broke it down into like viral parts or whatnot, and then cut the video into those segments. Um,
It'd definitely be easier.
I think it'd be a lot more cost efficient.
It would way more cost efficient because if something's analyzing the video, what it's doing is just listening and making its own transcript. If you already got the transcript, then you can do, like, say you mentioned you wanted to do something that was like, here's an education, or like, find the stuff in here that's about education. Here's a transcript. Let's cut a 15-second block with
Correct.
education. It'll use the timestamps to help it. All the AI engines will be deal with that context better than trying, and way more cost efficient than absorbing an actual video itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not even close on how cost efficient that would be.
Mm-hmm.
Just
And so
saying.
that's what, yeah, no, again, I had that conversation. And so, but from there, like I said, cutting down, even if it just processed that one video to cut it down into those specific clips, it's not even, anyway. But from the clips, are you familiar? Have you ever heard of FFmpeg?
Doesn't sound familiar.
Okay. I believe it was put together in the 90s. I don't know. Anyway, but it's basically Python script before for videos.
Okay.
And so what I ended up doing is on a Google Cloud server, installing something called the no code architects toolkit or something. Anyway, it basically calls FFmpeg from the Google Cloud. And so it lets me do things like write subtitles, concatenate videos, compose audio and all these things, kind of put the video together. And so I've kind of been playing with N8N and, you know, that whole cloud server type of thing. Just because, again, I'm thinking of something like, was it Create or like JSON videos? All of these AI video things are very expensive, you know,
Right.
because people, they don't know that the system that lies on top of it, essentially. And so somebody like JSON the video charges people like 50 again to $80 a month to run FFmpeg in a cloud server. And so
Right.
somebody who doesn't know that, right, will pay them the 50 to 80 bucks when it really costs like maybe 3 cents or something like that to compose that or put that video together in terms of like all the frames and you know, segments and things like that. So I forgot where I was going with this, but
Okay. Well, I'd certainly have a better idea after this conversation what the kind of the expectations or hopes are. So that's good.
And so when we look at like roles, so what I usually do is say, okay, one role would just be getting the interface up, like, you know, hey, design the landing page. For right now, it'll be a landing page that they come to do this work order and process the form, that kind of thing. And you're like the design person. Another
Mm-hmm.
person might be like the make person, get the data
Mm-hmm.
flow together. Another person might be, even if we did it on the systems, so that they could, you know, then teach each other, or kind of however you want to manage it. It'll, you know, that you
Mm.
think will get the deliverables done based upon the students, based upon their skill set, based upon.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's going to come down to there are going to be people that want to work on certain aspects more than others, probably. But like for like the landing page, then what'll happen is like, okay, it's like, okay, we want someone working on a landing page. What's this going to look like?
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, where is that landing page hosted? Like where is it built out at? Like, is it done in a high level thing? Is it
Yep.
some new
Obviously.
service that's hosted on, I don't know, GoDaddy? Like where's the stuff hosted and then the access, because then they can start working on it, right?
Mhm.
But it'll kick off, I'm sure, plenty of other questions once. But yeah, we'll go through the thing tomorrow, and then I'll try to get 4 students at least to work on it, and then we can kind of divvy up some roles maybe at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, I so just again, I'm gonna eventually figure out how to put this in ClickUp.
Oh,
Um, but this is kind of the breakdown of like what I would really like the machine to be able to do. So from a single long form video, be able to create the 90 assets. I too am a person that has to like, I really have to wrap my mind around all of it. And so I kind of like documentation that really goes through and explains the difference between, you know, all the times of you know, between the individual posts, the platforms, how often we're posting, best practices, and things like that. So you will have access to this, like I said, as soon as I figure out how to put this in there. But again, it's very
Yeah, this is kind of like the start of a doc, like we would typically build. Here's the way we want this thing to behave.
okay.
This is the start of that. You're gonna want it. You're gonna put it in the system. You want it cleaned up. It's gonna be clear. It's gonna be all that stuff. But this is the type of thing that will help a lot with
Okay.
yeah,
wrapping our minds around. It's like, okay, because even that first table you have at the top, it's like, hey, given someone has a long form video, we want these 90 assets to be able
yeah,
to be chopped up using different API stuff or AI or however it happens. And yeah, we can. Yeah, that's going to help a lot. This is the beginning of a requirements doc. If you're saying what you want, and these features, I can see the features and stuff in there.
all right. kind of, you know, when I was talking about how, you know, whatever the video is, it'd be good if it had options like, okay, hey, I want, you know, only want 5 mini stories, right? But maybe I have a few more case studies in this, so maybe I want 7 of those, and maybe I only want 2. And so being able to kind of
Pick and
choose
choose.
what, yeah,
Hmm.
type of thing, but the end result is always, you know, 90 pieces of content essentially, right? That they can
But they
eat.
could set the thresholds for which ones they
Yeah,
want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
90, yeah. Yeah, let's go 15, 30, 60, and 90. Yeah, I would think
So,
that.
but that's kind of the idea behind it. And then like I said, we have best practices and then things like that. So again, um, this is kind of all put together again so that I could wrap my mind around it to be able to even kind of get an understanding from the, you know, standpoint. So there's this document, and then there's also this one where I'm trying to also kind of, you know, map out kind of the same thing, um, you know, intake and
Yeah,
processing.
this is the stuff that are you planning on using these documents to help in your presentation tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, because yeah, this is the stuff that's gonna help.
Mm-hmm.
This will help the students wrap their mind around. They're gonna know what yeah.
Okay. And right now you have this in the
It's just in the Google
artist
Drive, the
artist folder.
TNT artist folder. Yeah,
Yep,
these are the 2 things. Um,
they're in the artist folder. I'll put them in
mhm.
there. I'll put them in there.
So
Okay.
yeah, this is just kind of me again thinking about this, kind of working through some of these things. Because I know we also wanted to promote the next webinar as well. And so this is kind of built in there as well. Being able to take the next webinar and make 10 or so assets to talk about it. So
Yeah, like, see, you got the content database stuff there, and you've got the fields and things like that. This is again, this is beginning with the requirements document. And if I have students that are working on, okay, the content database, for just as an example, the question is, okay, well, what platform is being used to store the content, right?
right.
Where does this database live? What system is it on? Who has access to it, et cetera? Like,
Mhm.
because that'll be I don't know if those are decisions that you all are making as you go along building this new thing. Like, okay, we got to store all these clips and videos. Where is it in Google Drive somewhere? Is that on?
Zenfolio is in Zenfolio. That's where we store all of the drive. So that's where we're
And
storing.
they have an API.
Yes, and they
I
have,
think so, yes.
and they have and when you pull when they're like YouTube, but they're for photographers and videographers. So
Yeah.
there's a space where you can actually pull the video raw the same way you can from YouTube and stick it into another software.
Okay. All right. Yeah, these documents will help a ton. They're really a start of kind of what we would normally be doing. But
Mm. Well, yeah, again, as somebody who, you know, builds these type of things, I have to kind of go through this to kind of figure out what I'm thinking. Because before then it's just kind of a gray, you know, a gray blob until you start, okay, well, I need this and I need this, and how do I get here? And it kind of puts itself together in a way as you.
and you're gonna put this all into ClickUp or wherever,
Yep,
right? Like, and then
I'm
that's
doing
where
it.
you can.
I'm doing it
That's
right
where
now.
these will be in like some sort of a priority order of when you'd want people trying to tackle certain pieces of it.
I can do that right now. It's just trying to figure out, like, get the
Get
order.
it in there. Yeah.
But
And you can help us out, Brian. Anything that you feel like is better the way that you're teaching the course, feel free to
Yeah.
change any of this stuff, around so that it
Well,
makes sense as you're presenting it.
yeah, because it's just having done this kind of stuff. Well, generally this stuff before, it's like we can work on, you know, well, what APIs are necessary first, or what really the main thing is what you want the flow to be.
mhm.
Then it's really a lot of times figuring out the data structure you want, like like where's the data? Because you can't really have a bunch of things like actionable things happening if you don't have the storage that you can start interacting with where you're going to keep track of everything.
Correct.
It's hard to work without saying, well, here's the database, here's the repository for where the stuff's stored, all that kind of stuff. And then we can start tackling different steps.
And I would think that each type of, there is a diagram there that talks about content based upon where you are in the funnel. And so
Yes, yeah.
like the webinars would generally be, so each one of those contents, the data would be coming from a different place. So like for the webinars, they're probably going to be coming from YouTube because we've already recorded the webinar and sent it to YouTube. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, so like if people have content come from different places, what you'd be doing in your database or whatever the back end is for this thing, it could be where you have fields that could hold a YouTube URL, or fields that could hold on to an actual clip, or fields that could hold on to whatever the sources are, Google Drive links.
Okay.
It's starting to essentially define the data requirements. What do we need to hold on to in terms of information, and where is that information stored?
Got it. I got you. So, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Anyway,
is that what Meg does, Morgan?
Innate is the actual automation part of it. So it's actually moving the data and building the images.
But it
And
hasn't told it where it's stored at. Is you would tell.
it depends on what it is in particular. Right now I've been doing a lot of where it's creating its own videos and images, and so I haven't necessarily had to store the data. However, I was looking at something
Can
potentially.
we ask the client to give
iPhone.
us the URL? Can we ask the
I'm sorry.
like Munch does? Can we ask the client to give us where the data is stored? The
No,
client.
we would determine where the data is stored.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, so they would give us, or like we would have their YouTube video or whatnot. And so either we would pull it from the YouTube server, or it would be in the Go High Level Media, whatever. But
Well, the reason I ask you that is because Munch asked us where is the URL address it wants us to munch.
right, but that's because it's pulling the data from you, the video from YouTube. It's basically downloading the video in order
Right.
to
Right.
munch it.
So
And
we can do
so-
that on the front end, like, hey, we want you for the webinar service, provide us with the URL link and the work in the workflow and the work, so that way we don't have to worry about that, and that's part of the process.
I mean, we could,
Customer?
assuming that they've recorded it and it's publicly, available.
Okay,
Because that's the thing, is like you can record something in Zoom, but
but it's
if
not
you don't-
publicly, yeah.
right.
Okay.
And so this is why we were taking the Communiversity and moving it over to YouTube, because we had access to do that.
Okay.
But technically, if it is available via Zoom, you can have an API to download it and automatically upload it into
To
YouTube.
YouTube.
That
Okay.
is something that can be done as just another place to store it.
For that. Okay. All right.
It's just that she didn't know how to do that, so I just kind of manually did it you did it those few times,
Okay.
but technically we would determine where everything is stored, so
Okay.
whatever
Brian,
is easiest.
did we answer majority of your questions for you? We're gonna.
Yeah, there'll be more, but I think I've got enough information in context to
Okay.
get through the first few days, week.
Okay.
These documents right here, I think the most helpful for wrapping minds around things.
Okay.
And the visual. I mean, I saw the visual too, with like the overall like sort of meta view of the flow and what's happening. But yeah,
Okay.
this is helpful.
Oh, good.
And Morgan, I'm trying to find that where that's in the TMT Youth Community Foundation. That's where it is right now. Okay, because I'm looking at talented marketing talents, but that's where you pull that from, right?
Well, no, this is under the TMT Artist Collective. You told me to put everything in there.
Yeah, that's the TMT Youth Community. Okay, that's right. Forget where stuff is. Okay. So Brian, I'm gonna put that in. Do you need our phone numbers in case you need to call or anything like that? Like, yeah.
I'm willing to communicate with you all the way that uh, is best. Like when I get the student teams and the student names, I can shoot an email. If I have a question that's more immediate needs answered, are you going to
Yeah.
want to schedule? Are you going to want to schedule time with the students each week to sit down and meet with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then the option is okay. It's easiest to make that happen during our formal class time,
Okay.
where they can go off into a different room and we can schedule them to have their conversations with you.
And that's about 11 o'clock in the day, like from
That's
like.
that's the easiest is 11 o'clock on Tuesdays.
Okay.
So, but if there's a time that works better in that 10 to 12:45 time slot, it could be noon, right? It could be 12. It could be 10 if that's like a really necessary. It kind of changes up how I have to start the class off whenever we go in for the beginning of the day. But I'd say 11 is optimal with having the weekly meeting with the students that are working on the project.
Morgan, how does that work for you?
That's fine with me.
Okay.
I definitely like that much better than the weekends.
Okay. But the last set of kids we had them on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, students are busy, so we've got a captive audience during the class time.
Right.
The rest of the time they're in other classes and activities and doing other work and jobs and
Yeah, we get it.
nightmare to
See,
schedule
we
something.
didn't have an instructor kind of with us last time. She just kind of taught the class and kind of just threw them to us. And so it was like she had already had them in class and then had for like 3 or 4 weeks or maybe like a month or so. And then the last month we came in and we were the capstone. So that's kind of what that was.
No, I plan to participate as much as possible in any of the
We like
meetings.
that. We
Yeah.
like that. We like that. So we get some deliverables and we get some students that really understand how to maneuver a real job. That's the goal here.
Yeah. It's gonna be good. I think we can do something cool.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so we will see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock. And now that I know where these documents are, I'll have them in there in the next 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll probably make another one too, just to.
Okay.
And I'll let you.
You want to stay on and let me show you ClickUp. Make sure that you can.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. And then if there are those videos you mentioned, Morgan, that you want me to have tonight, tomorrow to kind of just see them, feel free to share those as well.
Yeah, sure thing. I don't know how much time you're really gonna have to go through all the videos like before.
Just an idea. I just want to be able to get an
okay,
idea.
okay.
I don't have to watch the whole thing, so I can do that through the week, but at least get an idea of what it is you're talking about with that.
Okay, sounds great.
Okay, cool. All right, well then I'm off. I'll see you all tomorrow.
And check on those
Thank you.
chickens. I've been wanting to ask you about them all the time.
They're alive and they're doubling in size every day. It seems like crazy.
Okay.
Are they
Awesome.
egg chickens or meat chickens?
They are Icelandic chickens, and they're apparently prolific egg layers. But I'm sure they're edible too. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to them.
Okay.
How many is it? How many?
There's only they're a little over 3. They're 3 weeks old. There's 7 of them.
Okay. Have you found a rooster yet? How
You can't sex the chickens until about 6 to 8 weeks. You'll
Okay.
kind of the roosters start to get a lot bigger, a lot quicker, and then the crowns on their heads start to form in different ways with the hens versus the roosters. So I'll know in about a month.
And I hear they're like pimps.
Oh, you can only have one. You can only have one rooster.
That's what I heard. I heard they like someone was
Oh,
telling
you
me
can't.
that. I'm like, what?
Yeah, even if you had like 30 chickens, you could only have one rooster. It'd be too much for them. So so if there's more than one rooster, we gotta get rid of it. We'll give it to somebody, or I'll have to be the person.
Oh no.
So,
I know you got some happy kids, so I wanted to ask you about that the whole time. So
they're happy.
yeah, we will see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock, and we're gonna go ahead and get your documents to you in just a second.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Okay.
How'd you like that?
You should definitely stop recording.
Okay, let me stop recording. Let me stop recording. Hold on, stop recording. Stop.